When the Bible is referencing Eve, the Bible is talking about our Nubian Candace'S or Kendakes.
The ancient narrative of Adam and Eve stands as a profound allegory of the shift from a celestial matriarchy to a terrestrial patriarchy. This cosmological record maps the sovereign blood lineage of women, positioned in the high realms beyond the firmament, against the establishment of a male-dominated hierarchy in the lower realm. The matriarchal lineage represents the primordial state of abundance, symbolized by the Gardens of Eden, while the patriarchal descent represents a lower terrestrial rule spanning the 6 continents. According to this ancient literary tradition, men came down from the higher elevations to build upon the lower realm of the earth. This descent signifies the dawn of a new patriarchal succession, marking a distinct shift in governance and spiritual alignment. The firmament serves as the cosmic demarcation between the elevated matriarchal domains and the newly established patriarchal dominions on the earth. In the garden, the presence of the snake speaking to Eve is the ultimate symbol of the matriarchy communicating with the daughters of its own lineage. The snake is the timeless emblem of the matriarch, worn prominently as a logo of supreme feminine power and terrestrial wisdom. Throughout the Nile Valley, this serpent motif crowns the heads of queens and priestesses, emphasizing their direct connection to the ancient mother lineage. This serpentine symbol, recognized in Kemetic and Kushite royal courts as the uraeus, represents the watchful, protective, and sovereign power of the female ruler. When the snake speaks to Eve, it is the voice of the ancient matriarchy offering knowledge, continuity, and remembrance of the celestial origins. The serpent does not deceive. Rather, it activates the feminine lineage to recognize its inherent supreme authority. Eve embodies the continuous, unbroken blood lineage of the Kendakes, the sovereign queens of the Nile Valley. The Kendakes, or Candace'S, ruled the empires of Taseti, Cush, and Meroe with absolute authority, embodying the terrestrial manifestation of the Gardens of Eden. Their governance was deeply rooted in the cultivation of life, agriculture, and the preservation of the matriarchal line. The matriarchs of Meroe documented their lineage and cosmological understanding through the MERIOTIC script, inscribing the legacy of the Kendakes into stone. These inscriptions reflect a society where the bloodline of the mother determines succession, power, and spiritual authority. The MERIOTIC records validate the supreme position of the female ruler as the architect of civilization and the guardian of the sacred gardens. In stark contrast, the geographical parable of Adam illustrates the foundation of the new terrestrial succession. Adam chooses to hunt the animals, shifting the paradigm from cultivation and gathering in the serene gardens to one of dominion, subjugation, and the pursuit of terrestrial conquest. This hunting signifies the genesis of male succession, establishing a system where power is seized rather than cultivated. The succession of men ruling the lower realm expanded across the 6 continents, building civilizations rooted in the principles introduced by Adam. This lower terrestrial dominion focused on extraction, conquest, and the establishment of patriarchal hierarchies. The men who came down to build upon the lower realm redefined the structure of society, replacing the ancient matriarchal harmony with patriarchal conquest. In the ancient kingdom of Taseti, known as the Land of the Bow, the matriarchal presence remained formidable. The women of Taseti wielded both spiritual and martial power, defending the ancient ways of the Nile Valley against encroaching patriarchal systems. Their leadership exemplified the strength of the Kendake lineage, maintaining the balance of the upper realms upon the earth. The foundations of Kerma and Nubia further illustrate the profound influence of the matriarchy in antiquity. These civilizations thrived under the guidance of powerful women who maintained the sacred cosmological alignments and the prosperity of their people. The societal structures of Kerma celebrated the female life-giver, echoing the fertile abundance of the original Gardens of Eden. The successive cultures of Naqada 1, 2, and 3 in the pre-dynastic Nile Valley provide immense archaeological evidence of this matriarchal supremacy. Female figurines and artifacts from the Naqada periods highlight the veneration of the mother figure as the central pillar of society. These early communities lived in alignment with the matriarchal cosmology, long before the complete establishment of the patriarchal succession. At Nabta Playa, the ancient stone circles align with the stars, mapping the cosmological profoundness of the early matriarchal societies. The astronomical observations at Nabta Playa were deeply intertwined with the cycles of the female body and the fertility of the earth. This sacred astronomy served as the foundation for the spiritual practices that would later define the Kemetic and Kushite empires. The city of Napata became a vital center for the spiritual and temporal power of the matriarchs. The priestesses and queens of Napata conducted sacred rites that honored the female lineage and the serpentine wisdom of the ancients. Their authority in Napata ensured that the memory of the matriarchal origins remained active and potent in the face of spreading patriarchal rule. Beyond the Nile Valley, the ancient settlements of Anatolia mirror this precise matriarchal pattern. The female figures unearthed in Anatolian sites represent the same enduring lineage of the mother, deeply connected to the earth and the cultivation of life. The Anatolian matriarchy shares the same cosmological roots as the Kendakes, recognizing the supreme importance of the female bloodline. The allegory of Adam and Eve thus captures the fundamental tension between these two opposing systems of governance and existence. Eve's alignment with the snake is an alignment with her own ancient, matriarchal heritage, a refusal to completely surrender the higher cosmological wisdom. Adam's path of the hunter represents the forceful imposition of a new succession, one that prioritizes male rule over the lower realm. The Gardens of Eden in this context are not merely physical locations, but represent the flourishing, harmonious state of matriarchal societies. These gardens are the cultivated lands of the Nile Valley, Anatolia, and beyond, where the lineage of women nurtured civilization. The expulsion from the garden mirrors the systematic dismantling of the matriarchy by the advancing forces of the patriarchal succession. As Egypt developed, the synthesis of these two systems became apparent in its religion and statecraft. While patriarchal pharaohs eventually claimed the throne, they could only legitimize their rule through the bloodline of the royal women. The great royal wife carried the sovereign blood, a lingering testament to the original power of the Eve lineage and the inescapable authority of the matriarch. Despite the succession of men ruling the 6 continents, the blood lineage of the women remained unbroken and potent. The Kendakes of Meroe and Cush stood as the ultimate manifestation of this enduring power, actively resisting patriarchal dominance and maintaining their sovereign gardens. Their reign proves that the matriarchal knowledge and the emblem of the snake survived the descent of the new terrestrial rule. The matriarchal spirituality and cosmology remain permanently etched into the landscape and the stars. The alignments of Nabta Playa, the artifacts of Nakada, and the inscriptions of Meroe serve as an everlasting record of the Supreme Mother. The higher realms beyond the firmament continue to reflect the celestial origins of the female lineage, undiminished by terrestrial shifts. Ultimately, the narrative preserves the eternal symbol of the snake speaking to the woman, validating the unending connection between the matriarchy and its daughters. The allegorical Adam and Eve record the historical transition of terrestrial power, yet the sovereign bloodline of the Kendakes endures. The matriarchal emblem remains the supreme symbol of the continuous, unyielding power of the women of the ancient fertile gardens.